Good afternoon. I'm Sarah Paul, and you are listening to Psychic Ideas Radio, a new internet radio program with discussion on psychic theory, research, and development. Welcome. Good afternoon. Today is November 19th, Saturday, 2016, and this is Sarah Paul, channeler of the Galaxy Teacher and host of Psychic Ideas Radio. Today, we're going to present episode 6 of my fall series on the channeled voices that have been published or made available to the public since the 1970s. The first channeled voice I presented was the Galaxy Teacher, the voice that I myself channeled from 1992 to 2005, and I did 2 podcasts on that, the last 2 from the book End Human Suffering Through Psychic Development, the Galaxy Teacher Belief System, which is not a channeled book, but a book that I presented after I had published all the channeling, presenting the basic ideas of the Galaxy Teacher through my own viewpoint as the channeler of the Galaxy Teacher. It was my intention to start talking about Seth today, who was channeled by Jane Roberts in Elmira, New York in the 1970s. But I realized that I neglected to present any actual channeling from the Galaxy Teacher itself, and I think that was an omission I should not have made. And so today I am going to read actual channeling directly from the Galaxy Teacher to you from the first channeled book, Spiritual Culture. For the first 4 years, from 1992 to 1996, I just had conversations with the Galaxy Teacher, most of which I recorded. I wrote them down in a form of automatic writing. But then in 1996, I began channeling entire manuscripts from the Galaxy Teacher directly dictated to me, because by that time I had absorbed and internalized the basic concepts that the Galaxy Teacher had been trying to teach to me in that first 4 years. From channeling the Galaxy Teacher, I learned that if a person does conscious channeling, where the channeler is not in a deep trance, a hypnotic trance, but where they are awake, and that is the kind of channeling I did, that person cannot channel anything that they don't already have language for. It's somewhere in their conscious awake consciousness, somewhere in the memory, somewhere, there has to be at least some basic conceptual language for the type of ideas that they're trying to channel, or they simply can't channel about them. And so for the first 4 years, the Galaxy Teacher gave me conceptual language, and so that I was able to start channeling the manuscripts in the conceptual language of the Galaxy Teacher and talking about those ideas, those concepts of the Galaxy Teacher, because they had already taught me about the ideas, they had given me language for it. If, however, I had done deep trance channeling, which many of the channelers did, and Jane Roberts did, those channelers are able to give information, talk about ideas, and use technical language that they themselves have never consciously had any contact with. Okay, so that's the difference between conscious channeling and deep trance channeling. I will add, for your interest, that I did not have choice in whether I did conscious channeling or deep trance channeling. I know I just simply started out with conscious channeling, and I never had the experience of going into deep trance, so I didn't really have the choice. But I will say that my conscious channeling was so intense many times, especially when I did the manuscripts, that when I was finished channeling a large amount of material, I did not remember it afterward. I had to read it to know what it had said. And I would channel so intensely for such a long period of time, I would be writing it down with a pencil or a pen, and my hand would be cramped, and sometimes I would be unable to use it for days afterward. The channeling session lasted so long and was so intense. That's interesting. I'm not at all sure that the line between conscious channeling and deep trance channeling is really a very large chasm. I think that maybe it's simply a matter of degree. A degree. That is an interesting question, and I would love to see that researched by someone who finds it interesting, and I would love to read some good research on that question exactly, just how is channeling deep trance or conscious channeling, how far apart are they? Is it just a matter of degree? And how can you tell, and what are the signs, and what kind of information and contact with a channeled consciousness is possible in each state? That would be a great research project, wouldn't it? As you know, I am always encouraging research, independent research, and good records, good psychic records kept by people who are interested in psychic phenomena and psychic experience. And I encourage all people who are interested to go ahead, self-motivate, and produce such experiments, do such research, and keep good records and donate those records to the human race so that we can go forward in our psychic development. I'm going to begin on page 9 of Spiritual Culture, paragraph 2. It is necessary for you to begin to understand who is the I speaking when galactic being speaks to you. We are many and speaking in various ways. You may find us in our books, yes, of channeled material. But most of all, you will find us in your heart, what you call your heart, that wanting, that happiness, that joy. Quote, this is what I want to do. I love doing this. I love to write. I love to be married. I love to do this or that. Unquote. Whatever your joy is, yes, follow that joy. Will the money follow, little one? What money? What money? There is enough for you to survive. What do you seek? Seek your wanting. We say little one because your mind, what you think of as your mind, is sort of a little baby consciousness, beautiful, fresh, and free, which is just awakening, like you are being born. I speak of your universal consciousness. So you are a little one, and I, the Galaxy Teacher, who God has pleased to call the Galaxy Teacher, am a big one, and I am kind of steering you along. I speak in your language, the language of your day and of the moment. When we say you are just being born, we mean that you are becoming aware that you are multiple, you are many. Many things will come with this, and we are here to help you rediscover them and to adjust in happiness, which you cannot do without, meaning that you cannot do otherwise. Something good is coming, and it is you. Awareness, full conscious awareness. And now in the next paragraph, the Galaxy talks about falling from grace, the idea of falling from grace, and he's referring to the idea, the story, from the Garden of Eden, where Adam and Eve fell from grace and were cast out of the Garden of Eden. I quote from page 10. You did not fall from grace. Don't think about this. You just got mixed up, thinking that the material is real. Let's say that. You forgot who you are. Do you spend your whole life wondering who you are? Has this ever struck you as very odd that you should not know who you are? God is formless, but takes many forms, and when you believe, which is moving into non-power, God will take a form for you so you can relate, learn, and obey. Those of you who are ready know this form of obedience, which is not frightening and does not render you powerless, but which teaches you many things. When you move into obedience, you will start to experience the oneness. You are moving in trust without question, so your pace quickens. Your mental metabolism will speed up, and you will be aware of realities that pass you by when you are slower. You can go quickly, bypassing the doubts, questions, hesitations, and the understanding that you feel is important. For here is the thing about doing. You abandon the separated understanding and move forward quickly. Before you do this, there must be a period of relationship in which you learn to trust. For as the Galaxy Teacher says, a wise person knows who to follow. And then there is a surrender, a total continuing mental surrender to this form, which you have labeled as God or your spiritual teacher. Do not be afraid and go forward. You may call this a continuing state of channeling. There will not be conversation. There will be a continuing intuitive communication. You will receive instructions, advice, or suggestions, perhaps in the form of a good idea. You go forward and do these good ideas because you have given up questioning. You are doing. You may also receive separated communication of which you are aware. You may channel. We include talking to God in prayer when we say channel. Or you have conversations in your sleep, or receive conscious messages in song on the radio or other means. We do not speak of the schizophrenic voice. We speak of telepathy. To surrender to these suggestions and do them is a doing. To do it without understanding. Understanding will come afterward. And as an aside, I will say here that that is an idea the Galaxy Teacher taught me, that when you go forward in trust and communication with a channeled voice or with some kind of psychic experience you have in meditation or something like that, that you won't understand it at first. But so what you need to do is stop questioning and just go forward and do it. And then afterward, you will understand it. You have to do it first and understand it afterward. That is the nature of psychic experience for us humans. That is the nature of how we have to learn how to cooperate with psychic experience, with a psychic event. Channeling, for instance, is a psychic event. Divination is a psychic event. A miracle is a psychic event. We do not denigrate religious miracles here by calling them psychic events. We're simply describing them using different language. The psychic experience, consciousness, is just as holy as what we call God. It is just as good, just as benevolent, just as all-powerful, all-knowing, and all-seeing. And it is simply man in a closer relationship to God than he has been before. I continue to read from page 12 of the book Spiritual Culture. Then you move into non-doing. In non-doing, you will heal yourself and others. You will know God, and God will come to you. You are not ready for this, and you think it comes from the ego. You will alter physical reality. You think it comes from the ego. You even think telepathy comes from the ego, but it does not. It is a surrendering. It is not a sending of energy. It is a oneness. Let down the walls and you will have telepathy. oneness, surrender. Surrender in your heart. You must have a focus, so get a God of your understanding. And if it is formless, fine, but do not neglect the surrender. The more humble you are, the more humble your God can be. A simple God will serve you best. Do not be foolish. Do not be intellectual. Surrender and move forward. Do and then do not do. If you wish telepathy with your fellow man, do not do. Move forward. You will know each other in the limelight. You will recognize each other as I recognize you, for I am a universal being. You will recognize each other. Do not play games and compete in telepathy. What is this? You are not me when you do this. You are not us. See? When you are close, you will have telepathy. When you are open, you will know it. Relate to yourself and stay humble in the moment. You will not move forward without this. There will be no cults, no offshoot organizations that learn this and use it for their own purposes. You cannot learn this. You must do it. And now I will make my own comment there that that is something the Galaxy teacher taught me very plainly, that it is not possible for the human being to develop psychic powers or psychic abilities and use them for focused, egotistical, selfish purposes, for harmful, negative, evil purposes. It is not possible. Do not fear psychic experience. You create reality. And in essence, consciousness is good. You came from consciousness. You are a good, benevolent soul. Okay? You are a God soul. You are part of God. And that idea is completely congruent with the Bible, which says that God is love. And if you are of love, you are of God. Now, I think it should be clear, and I hope it is clear to you at this point, that what the Galaxy teacher is generally talking about here is how to advance forward in your own personal psychic development, and that there are stages in moving forward in psychic development, and he calls them doing and non-doing. And then he goes on later to talk about being and non-being. Okay. And this state of non-doing, he includes where you can manifest physical things into the environment, like you can heal, okay? Miraculous healing. You can be healers. You can heal yourselves. With the human race, we will be able to do that. We will be able to say unto that mountain, move, and it will be removed, okay? We will be able to bypass the laws of physics, because the laws of physics are only part of reality, and that the rest of reality we are denying and ignoring. Okay. I continue to read from page 13. So, is telepathy a doing or a non-doing? It is a non-doing. Doing is surrendering without question. Doing is listening to the voice and then acting. Get up and live. Live in each moment, aware of your own surroundings. This is doing, but you will not do until some of the pain goes away. You will not live. You will not move. You will sit there and think, trying to understand. Clarify the confusion. Get away from it all. Reject noise and deliberation in your life. The only sacred responsibility in this life is to your children. For how can you be responsible for others? They, children, are your true and only soulmates, for they are the extension of your soul in body form, once again reincarnated. Reincarnated is in quotes. They are you, split up and in the future. Your children are older than you always, for they are from the future. Guard these little ones who are dependent and who are here because you said they would be. You are indeed responsible for them. The soul, reproducing children, is still working out its things, but the natural state of the soul is single, as you will learn, as many of you are learning already. Someday your, quote, family line, unquote, will, quote, die out, unquote. Yes, die out when the soul no longer wants to return and keep playing out endless scenes of love and war, which are all separated. Reincarnation is a remembering, and when the soul remembers, it will stop reproducing into this world of pain. You cannot judge who is soul old and soul young, but the young are old, you may be sure of that. The soul of man is growing weary of the pain and does not desire to continue in its present form. And so the day of judgment is upon you. Move into doing, man, and push the button of your final destiny. You are about to become the God you have loved for so long, loved and longed for. You were longing for yourself. Now, the next page, page 15, starts chapter 3, which is titled Commitment. It's about marriage, and I will read just a few lines from that page. Do not marry for security. Marry for love. Let us support you. Let us be your first commitment, and we will always provide. You must understand this. Live it now, not in word only, but in activity. The security marriage is till death do us part. How can you make such a promise? Your goal in life is soul development, and you must have your freedom. Yet you may marry for love if love is your soul development, and you are not obligated when the love is not there, for this will hurt you. Neither promise what you will not deliver, so do not say, till death do us part, when you do not mean it. Say, until we are no longer together, because this is honest. And those who cannot abide such a promise will not marry you. Do not lie. For some still seek such security, but you seek it in God, in universal consciousness, in soul development. Soul development is what you are here for. Make no mistake. I move on now to page 19, which starts chapter 4, called Spiritual Culture and Material Culture. Something wonderful is happening to the human race, and it is spiritual culture. A pervasive change is coming over us, and we are turning into a we, a multiple entity which is aware of its own multiplicity. This is where we have psychic power and hear the multiple voice, which we have identified as the inner voice, and which calls itself by the pronoun we. In this state, we will know extraterrestrials, which we will contact first with our thoughts, and already have. In this state, we will reform the social structure of the world based on a new concept of responsibility, which is not outer-based, but inner-based, based on information from the inner voice. Let each person listen to the inner voice and respond to it. This is a point of responsibility for us. These messages are not new. They are old, and they are consistent with the teachings of all major religions, because these religions are based on channelings and teachings of the inner voice and always have been. Now I skip to page 20. Spiritual culture is not organized. It is individual, and it is based on ideas that will take their own form in society. It is not for us to polarize against material culture, but to recognize it in ourselves and make personal choices. What can save man if he cannot save himself, and on an individual level? One by one we must change, and there can be no other way. The Galaxy Teacher says, do not have leaders, but listen to the inner voice. I skip to the next page. Material culture is not difficult to understand. Let us assume that the tree of the knowledge of good and evil in the Garden of Eden refers to the belief in separated reality. That is, in the belief that we are material in nature, in which we forgot the spirit or the inner voice and became caught in ego and the physical body. When we separated from our spiritual nature in this way, we saw reality as polarized into two opposite things because we no longer realized that we are multiple and a part of everything that is unified or one. We experienced separation as a nature for reality and projected it onto everything we saw. Therefore, we acquired the knowledge of good and evil, which are polarized opposites. That is, we ate the apple or internalized the idea of polarized, separated reality, which we lump into two big categories, good and evil. Now let us see this ignorant physical entity as living in life and death cycles called reincarnation, which is the soul extending itself into the future or into linear time, again into the material separated amnesiac reality, as there really is no linear time in spirit. The Galaxy Teacher says there is no punishment karma, and no such thing as karmic debt. The goal of the repetition of reincarnation. The goal of the repetition of reincarnation is not a balance of karmic debt, but simply a striving of the soul to attain self-awareness, i.e., to escape the reincarnation cycle, to remember its spiritual nature. The soul is released from reincarnation cycles, not when there is balance of karmic debt, but when the personality remembers itself, when it wakes up to its multiple self. And I will say that my interpretation of that is that the Galaxy Teacher is saying that when man achieves psychic development, he will stop reincarnating. Okay, he'll be free of the reincarnation cycle. He'll be free of being caught in the physical body. And then it's very interesting what form he will be free to take afterward. Now, the rest of this book is a long and interesting explanation of conceptual language and some more discussion of reincarnation and the idea that when man, achieves psychic development, he will be free of reincarnation. I'm going to go to page 115 and read paragraph 2 now. Do not channel for other people. Let them find their own spirit. You will take on a burden you do not wish to have. It is not wrong, but I would have you free. You can never channel enough to release them of their problems, for they will transfer their dependence to you. See? Why do you seek this? Yet if it helps you, it is not wrong, but eventually you will tire of it. As an aside, I took that advice, and as a channeler, in the 13 years I channeled, I never channeled for other people the way other channelers do. I never sat down and said, do you have a question for the great cosmic consciousness that I might channel and answer for you, for your individual problems. I never did that. The Galaxy Teacher advised against it. And now I read from the end of the book. This book is like any book. If you like it, it is for you. If you do not understand it, it is not for you. If you do not agree with it, do not like it, it is not for you. If you like some and not the rest, this is fine. One book, one moment, one time. Many people, one function, one moment, one time. The Galaxy Teacher teaches. He is bold and he teaches. We will tell you what to do. We tell you how to do it. We are form. We are function. We do not stop and think and get stuck in worries and creations of this and that. We don't care what you think. We do not need your approval or your opinion. Your opinions are like ants to us, all running around, hither, thither, scattered, because a storm has come. The storm is now. It is upon you. Wake up, man. It is not continuing. There is a time of movement, a place of change. You are in it. You are in a great moment of change. I tell you, you are. Move, grow, develop. Think free. Go forward. Go forward into oneness. You will experience multiplicity and oneness. Go on. Let the inner voice tell you who you are as an individual. Then let it tell you who you are as a race. You have forgotten to listen and lost yourself. This is our message. Listen to the inner voice. It will set you free. You think you are in school here, but you are not in such a school, trapped by lessons. You are in the moment, whole and free, this very moment. You are perfect. You are perfectly you. There is no other standard. Forget this, I am not perfect. You are perfect. Accept responsibility for that. You are whole. You are free. You do not want to be. You want to be children, but I set you free. You want to set yourselves above each other. I do not allow that anymore, for you are equal, yet you are not the same. You are free in this manner. And now chapter 11, called Reality, the last chapter of the book. And finally, a word on reality. Life is but a dream. If you like the Galaxy teacher, fine. Call a Galaxy teacher and let him talk. If you need God, good. Go to him. Don't be a fool. If you need him, go to him. Do not abandon the God you need. But reality, forget this. What does this mean? Just do what makes you happy. This is the only reality. How you feel. Are you happy? Are you sad? Are you hungry? Forget form. Forget need. Forget right and wrong. Forget truth and reality. You are the only truth you need. Lay in the sun. Take a nap. Eat a hot fudge sundae. Have a beer. Life is short. You are the only reality. You want to write? Write. You want to teach? Try that. You like to fish in the pond? Sit there and contemplate the universe. Don't make complications for yourself. You have no holy mission to save the world. The world needs you. You are here. You are fishing in the pond, contemplating the universe. You are doing your part. Remember, you live in a noun world. You will forget this and need to be reminded again, but remember it today. You are movement. You are real. Happiness is how you experience yourself. You experience yourself in this. Move. Be real. Be happy. Do the happy thing, the movement thing. Go. Free yourself of clutter. Move quickly and be happy. The happy thing. There is more reality, man, in one moment of happiness than in all the conversations we can have, for then you are moving and not frozen in ice. You can feel it. You can feel the freedom. Go quickly. Do not stay to contemplate, to worry about it and think twice. In your first impulse is where you are. In your first impulse is where I am. I am my wanting, my desire, my movement. Don't let the world bog you down with guilt and gravity. You will know when it is time to move. You will help when it is your time to help, and it will be free and happy. You are free. You are a free spirit. No one can chain you down. Let not thoughts of reality chain you down. You are free. Do not worry about this reality or that reality. Is it true? Is it real? What do you care? You are not being told to do anything. A thought process, an idea change, this has come for you. If it frees you, take it. If it doesn't, it's not for you. Are freedom and happiness appealing to you? You're in the right place. You're in good company, better company than you know. Welcome to the universe, man. We welcome you to freedom and liberation, to the knowledge that life is a dream, that you are the center of things, that it's okay to be happy. We offer you, graciously, psychic power and non-power, eternal life, multiple consciousness, and happiness, life in the moment. Reality. What does it mean? This is something you people have made up to torture yourselves, to keep yourselves apart from us, from the moment of now. You must move into movement. Movement is doing. It is happiness. It is freedom. When you are happy and free, you will not harm each other. When you are happy and free, you will love as you have not loved before. All of your love has limitations and conditions. It cannot be helped in your society. We love you in a way you do not understand, freely. You think you are free, but you are not, and you are hurting the other. So your love is limited, and you love those in your family, or only a few. We help you because we care about you. Go to the inner voice and let it change you, and accept it in the form it presents itself to you. Reality? You do not know reality. Reality is in movement. Your movement. Why you are doing it. Why you are doing it. It's just your happiness. Now I see there is another chapter which I forgot is in my own book. Chapter 12 called Synthesis, and then chapter 13, a note on all forms of psychic experience. Let me take a moment and decide what to read to you. On page 125, the Galaxy Teacher talks about government, and I think because of our great renewed interest in government, because of our recent election, it may be a time to consider an idea. So I'm reading from the Galaxy Teacher, Spiritual Culture, page 125. You have tried to mend your ways and establish just cultures, but you only made matters worse with your exotic group efforts, which were out of control and degraded back into material culture again. No group effort of man will solve the crimes of man. It will take a God for this. You are looking for the right form of government. Govern yourself. Yourself. The self is out of control. There can be no peace. In individual ways will you move. Let this happen. Give yourself this time individually. For a different kind of man must emerge. See? Peaceful, not hungry. Let this happen over the next 100 years. Study the book, every book, your book, the one you write, the one that speaks to you. Go within. Give it a whole lifetime of change. Then emerge a new culture. Changes you will see, feel, experience. It will not be a dormant change, but a surprising one. Do not demand to see perfection in government in your time, but you will see improvements. Look to the world, to other governments. What are they doing? You are one with them. Do not accept separation from them. This is a new attitude. It is the children and the children and the children who will bring it about, for they do not care for your nationalism. See? And they will bring it about. So go easy and let your young be free, and they will bring about the peace you have longed for. You are growing old. You are tired. Let it go. Okay, that's the end of what I'm going to read from Spiritual Culture, and I think that you have experienced some of the wisdom of the Galaxy Teacher, and you have experienced his tone and his way of speaking. Sometimes I speak of the Galaxy Teacher as he, don't I? And, his way of speaking, and so, but actually the Galaxy Teacher presented itself to me as a we. That is how the Galaxy Teacher presented itself to me. Sometimes I call it it. Sometimes I call it he. Sometimes I call it they. It presented itself to me as we. Okay. Well, thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed that. And next week, I will move on to Seth. And Seth, fascinating channeled voice, the most powerful channeled voice, the most influential channeled voice in the entire movement of channeled voices within the last 40 years. Okay, have a good week, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening. Psychic Ideas radio podcasts are available at YouTube, Facebook, Spreaker.com, and our website at sites.google.com/site/Psychic Ideas Radio.